Hi friends, I am Jalsam Jacob. I am from Kerala, a small state in India. So here I am going to share a video lesson which details teaching count and non-count nouns with low, intermediate level class. So as you can see from the slide here, the purpose of this video lesson is to familiarize the learners with the basic differences between count and non-count nouns. The second one, to acquaint the learners with the plural forms of count nouns. Third one is to enable the learners to use the correct quantifiers with both count and non-count nouns. Here we go. So this task has got 5 stages. I'll read out the 5 stages that this video lesson is going to have. First one is the warmer, second one is the presentation stage, third one is the practice stage, fourth one is the follow-up stage, and the fifth and the last one is the assignment that I'll be giving to practice count and non-count nouns in their homes. So the first one is the warmer. We know what is the use of a warmer. The warmer sets the platform for the students to understand the topic. Besides setting the platform, it introduces the topic. Here I have given a warmer to introduce count and non-count nouns for the students. Okay. The second one is the presentation stage, wherein I have tried to present the count and non-count nouns and their uses in a playway technique. The third one is a practice stage. So here the students practice what they have learned from the presentation stage. And fourth one is a follow-up stage, wherein I have used the stage to ask doubts and to come up with what they have understood. And the fifth one and the last one is the assignment stage or the take-home stage, take-home activity stage, wherein I have given some assignments for the students to check how far or how effective they have learned the count and the non-count nouns. Okay, so the first one is the warmer. So basically what I am trying to do here is I'll give them a handout of a story that they have learned, So the task is they have to read the story and they have to underline all the nouns that they have come across or that they will come across. Okay, so the task, the students read the story and they will underline all the nouns that they come across. And the teacher elicits response from the students. So here the students have to come up with, or they have to read out all the nouns that they have underlined. Here, a word of caution, dear friends. What happens is there are chances that some students would come up with wrong answers, that is, words that are not nouns. So I advise you to write both the correct and the wrong answers on the whiteboard or the blackboard. So you have to differentiate between them. You can write all the right words that are all nouns on the right hand side of the whiteboard and all the wrong answers that are words that are not nouns on the left hand side. I have an intention behind it. See, till the end of the class we won't differentiate between the two, but towards the end of the class I'll ask the students why I did not take into account the words written on the left hand side. And most often students would come up with the answer that they are not nouns. This gives the students a chance to know the characteristics of nouns in their lesson. So it is a kind of a self-analysis the students make, and it throws more light on how to find out nouns or what are the characteristics of nouns. So the warmer is to read a story and to underline all the nouns that they have come across. And after that, I'll ask them to group these nouns into two. One, count nouns, and the other one is non-count nouns. So I'll tell them the difference. Count nouns are objects that can be separated and counted individually. Okay, uncount nouns or uncountable nouns are objects that cannot be separated and counted individually. So all the nouns in that story will be divided into two. One under the count nouns head and the other under the non-count nouns head. So this is the warm-up. And the second one, as I've told you, is the presentation stage. So in the presentation stage, I'll be playing a YouTube video. The YouTube link is given here. It's a beautiful song by Tom Simak, and if you click onto this to this link, you can directly go to the YouTube video. Okay, so the song tells us about count and non-count nouns. After listening to this video, which is only for about 2 minutes, the students write down all the count and non-count nouns on a piece of paper. So the next task is they'll have to use some quantifiers that go along with both the count and non-count nouns. For example, there is a word snow. So the students can write any quantifier that goes with snow. For example, much snow. And there is a word car. The students can write any quantifier that goes with books or cars. They can write several cars, or they can write many books, anything. So with a limited knowledge of quantifiers, they write down some quantifiers that go along with each word. Okay, so that is a task. So in the presentation stage, the teacher presents count and non-count nouns in a more better way, and he asks them to write down some words that go along with each count and non-count words. And the third task in the presentation stage is if the students have to write down the plural forms of all the count and non-count nouns. So here they come across a problem. Some non-count nouns do not take plural forms. So the intention is to make them familiarize the fact that some non-count nouns do not have, or most often non-count nouns do not take the plural form s. For example, books, when you add s to book, you will get books, which is the plural form. But water, you cannot add s and write it waters or oils, etc. Okay, yes. So that is the presentation stage. So in the presentation stage, the teacher introduces, not only introduces, but he goes into some details of the topic. And here he teaches the plural forms of count and non-count nouns. And then he will deal with some quantifiers or some words that go along with count and non-count nouns. Okay, and in the fourth one is the practice session. So the practice session has been I do this practice session in a playway method. The students are formed in a circle. They are asked to stand in a circle, and they'll have a box. The box contains the names of, in the box, some chits on which the names of objects, that is both count and non-count, will be put inside the box. The music will be played, and when the music is played, the box which has some chits is rotated. The music stops. The one who gets the box, he will take out a chit from it, and he would read out the object which is written on the chit. Suppose if he got pencil. So he would read out pencil. So he has to do two things. First, he has to read out. He has to do three things. First, he has to read out the object. He has to say whether it is a count or non-count noun. And then he has to say a quantifier which goes with that noun. The third one, he has to use it in a sentence of his own. Okay, so and if A gets pens, he can say 3 pens, and he would frame a sentence with three pens. Got it? I think it's clear. And now again the music will be played, and when the music stops, the one who gets the box will repeat the same thing. Will take a sheet from it. He will read out the object, and he would say a word that goes with that object, with that noun, and frame a sentence with that word. Yes, so that is a practice session. So here at the end of the session, students will be able to use quantifiable words such as some, most, many, etc. Okay, so now let's see what is the main intention of this practice session. After the practice session, the students will be able to use quantifiable words such as much, some, a great deal of, a bit of, a little with non-countable nouns. Then they may be able to use quantifiers like many, a few, several, a number of with count nouns. And 3, they'll be able to use some, all of, a lot of with both count and non-count nouns. So practice session is intended for that. So practice session gives them an opportunity for them to learn what they have studied, or to use what they have studied in detail. Okay, now comes the follow-up session. Follow-up session, I usually take follow-up sessions as a kind of revision. So I ask my students to come to the front of the class, and they can share with the whole class what they have understood. Okay, here each student comes to the front of the class, and he will say what count nouns and non-count nouns are, and then he will ask some doubts if they have doubts, and thus the follow-up session is meant for detailed understanding of what he has learned. If some students have left out any of the points, then this is the best time for them to learn it. The 5th one is the take-home activity session, wherein I give them an assignment to be done while they are at home. So the assignment that I would like to give here is, I ask them to read the newspaper, take any news event that is interesting for them, and they'll have to circle the count nouns and underline the non-count nouns that they will be reading in that news event. Okay, so that is the assignment, and so they have to bring assignment to the class the next day. So hope you have understood how to teach count and non-count noun with students of low intermediate class. This is meant as a kind of giving prominence to the speaking skills of the students. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Thank you.